I'm not trying to be likable. Yes, I have clients. I would love you to like me. I want your teams to like me. I want your teams to feel like they can trust me. But to the internet as a whole, I don't give. I don't care. So there will be people who resonate and there will be people who won't. And me catering to that,
no, don't have
I can't do
for it. It's time to stop spinning your wheels, wasting time, money, and energy building your brand alone on social media. Hi, I'm Sophia Spallino, the host of Social Equity, the podcast, here to help you build your own profitable personal brand, the social equity you can rely on to make the money that you deserve. Are you ready, Miss Future Millionaire? Let's get into it. Listen to this to lead a movement. Ooh, this is going to be juicy. Your ideal client isn't the next person who's listening to Social Equity's ideal client. Maybe, just maybe, your ideal client isn't person to person. Maybe your ideal client is business to business. Maybe your ideal client is you being a coach to a corporate company. Maybe your ideal client looks different than what you typically see in the coaching industry, and that's okay. Or perhaps you're tuning in and you're like, I never thought about targeting corporate clients. Well, there's a lot of money on the table there, and corporate clients can be incredible high-ticket clients that come back again and again and again when you produce great results. So if you're looking to work with corporate clients, how do you leverage building a brand online? What's the point if you're reaching out to corporate clients? Let me tell you a little bit about my guest today. Grace McGarrick, the culture coach, was one of my most successful VIP clients with about 4 sessions. Shortly after our time together, she closed a $40,000 single invoice on one client. I'm really proud of her, the confidence she has, what she's built for herself. She's a fellow queer woman who has taken the leap, betting on herself and her purpose and leading. Grace's energy is magnetic, and you will be able to just pick up on these transformational vibes that she brings into every room that she speaks in. She brings so much to the table, and she also can pull that out of you, what you bring to the table, all your value. If you're building a team now, maybe you're like, okay, Sophia, I'm not planning on ever targeting corporate clients, but I listen to Social Equity and I plan on having a huge business and I plan on leading a team. If you ever plan on being a big girl business owner who leads a team or leads many clients at once, you've got to develop leadership skills. So lean in and listen to her wisdom. This is something I wish I would have taken time to develop years ago, because building anything built big requires intentionality, leadership, and Grace is a great leader. Grace is, as she says, not the hero corporate America asks for, but the hero that corporate America needs. She's built a program that makes teams actually excited to focus on their work and collaborate with each other. And she uses her audience of over 10,000 on TikTok to ensure that the tools she's offering within her program are articulated in a language that every generation and every person in the workforce can actually hear. So we feel seen and cared for and actually love our. Welcome to Social Equity. Everyone just tuning in, Grace is a coach that offers her service to corporate clients, but she uses social media to learn about the people that she's helping her corporate clients lead. So Grace, welcome.
Sophia, I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy. I love when I just get to see you. Like, in all transparency, you're a client who became a friend, and I'm very blessed to have your friendship in my life.
I always love when we get to chat. Either way, live with a ring light behind me or not.
Yes, exactly. Okay, I'm so proud of what you've gone on to do and the audience you've built. And it's so different than what most people come to me for, because they're coming to build an audience who's ready to buy, whereas you're using your audience as a focus group. Tell us more.
Yeah, when I started working with you, I already had corporate clients, so I didn't need more clients. What I'm looking for was credibility. It's funny because now what's turned around is I get clients out of TikTok as well.
100%.
But what I was looking for was, you know, there's all these generational issues. I was just really focused on how do we get, I'm very particular about how I think about culture in companies. And so culture is just the how. Yeah. It's super cool. How do you do things? And I want them to be more efficient. I'm a Virgo. We need to just do it the best possible way. Make it really easy, really streamlined. So for me, being able to understand what all these issues were in real time, right? And so not just, I can only have so many phone conversations a day, and I do, right, with people who are struggling or trying to think about things differently. You know, I put a video on TikTok last night, 35,000 people engage with it, and then now hundreds of comments to go, oh, okay, I can take this information. And usually what I do, my pipeline right now is LinkedIn is where I get a lot of my clients.
Yeah, let's dive into that. Let's dive into it. What's the pipeline?
So I take what I on TikTok and I bring it and I translate it to LinkedIn.
Love it. So you bring the conversation there, or because different individuals on TikTok than are on LinkedIn, correct?
Yes and no. So when I first went on TikTok, I was like, okay, my clients are on LinkedIn. All the big boy, big girl executives are on LinkedIn. It's the kids on TikTok. It's not. Oh, there's a lot of executives on TikTok.
Yeah. And there's a lot of money to be made and like connections to be made that lead to the next thing. And you can't discount TikTok as an incredible way to not just funnel people over to LinkedIn or Instagram as a lead generation platform, but also where you have these real conversations where someone can really get to respect you for the conversation you're having there and how you're leading on TikTok.
I'm still in my learning mode on that, Sophia. Like sometimes the comments, I'm like, okay, if I was at a conference with someone, how would I answer the way this, because it's so easy, in the comments. But yes, it is a place for someone to look at how you're approaching things and go, oh, I like the way you think about this. I want you to work for me on that basis.
I love that. So you actually got clients from TikTok now, even though that wasn't where you expected.
Every time.
I love it.
I send them to my email, and then they email with a company signature, and I'm like, what? It's so crazy.
Because they're big, and they're scrolling on TikTok because why? They're creating content for TikTok. And even if you're a big dog who has a whole social media team for you, at the end of the day, we're so emotionally attached to our personal brands that we're scrolling on TikTok to relax as people with big companies, growing companies, scaling companies. But we're looking at what's going on TikTok so we can make sure our content is relevant. And we care about certain things. We care about certain conversations. And it sounds like your content has reached the right audience. Congratulations.
Thank you. And you really put me in the right direction. When we first started, I'll just get back to your crew here. When we first started, I really was building a business and I wanted to be like Sheryl Sandberg or something. Like I said, I'm a Virgo. I was like, I'm going to do something amazing and then I will have a platform because of that. Like I will do something amazing, really like neat and packaged behind the scenes. No one's going to see all the seams. No one's going to see all the work. And what I found was that was not going to be my path. And for me, the personal brand comes in front of my business. So just super simply, if people watch my videos, they sign my contracts.
Ooh, that's so good. Say it again.
If I come to them cold and they haven't watched anything, they do not sign my contracts.
Yeah.
So my brand now comes in front of my business, which is crazy, which means that I have to be
creative,
really careful about it. And that's one of the reasons I went to you, because I saw you and I think I was like, can we be friends? And also, can I work with you? However that was. But you were talking about so many different things in a variety of ways, with unapologetically about it. And that's what I was looking for at that moment, because I had a lot of apologies for being online. I had a lot of apologies for being on TikTok. The first TikTok I ever made, 2020 probably, and I didn't do it again really for another like 3 years. I sent it over to my Instagram, like shared it to Instagram. I was like, if anyone ever sees me taking TikTok seriously, call my mother.
And look now, that's how you sign your big clients. Wow. Wow. Okay, well, I love to hear this update that you're not just on LinkedIn anymore. TikTok isn't just where you gather the information, but it's actually where you sign on clients. This is big information because your contracts are big. When people work with you, I mean, can you just give a price range of what that looks like? You don't have to give a full price, but
Yeah.
I know it's
So
different.
actually interesting for your audience. So my LinkedIn clients, my like normal sort of set of clients, it's an executive. She's female. I have a vision board of her right here. She's female. She's wearing designer shoes. She's visionary. She has a high risk tolerance, and she cares about her team in a holistic way. So she really comes in going, we need something different. We're performing well. I want us to get here. How do we do something different? And that's my client from LinkedIn. And that can be between a 10 to 40K program, 10 to 40, 50K program.
Okay.
TikTok, people coming in off that thus far. So I have, my program is very much a product. I have a cadence. It's 6 hours. I can run a team through it in a day, or I can run them through it over the course of 6 weeks. There's a very specific set of steps I want to go through to get the outcome that we're looking for. So I'm not assessing, analyzing. I can customize a little bit, but it's a really specific program. The people coming in off of TikTok want a piece of that program. So they want an hour, they want 2 hours at most.
Okay.
So that lands them more in the like 2 to 5K. Thus far.
Yeah. And I love it. So you're seeing what the marketplace needs right now, and you're like, okay, they want a smaller piece, and I'm not going to lose money. I'm just going to create a slightly different offer from what I'm already offering. And that's something that we pivoted to. It's like, okay, we have a super high ticket program that's going to change your whole life. But if you want that first step, then just let's talk about it, and I'll be able to help you with that too. And I think that's really important as a creator, not to be like obsessed. So many of us were creative. These are our babies. We're like, we don't want to just like sell a piece. We want you to have the whole piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's hard to be able to pivot to what the market wants, because it can be so helpful, but it can also be like a really crazy merry-go-round you put yourself on.
Yes. You have to be very sure of what you know your purpose is and how you want to help people, and then conveying that value and that transformation. And it's so compelling that people are ready. But what was really interesting, you said something, I don't know if I could say it exactly, but people sign my contracts when they see my content. And we're talking 10 to 40K contracts, or 2 to 40, 50K contracts. When they see your content, what is it about your content? And I know what it is, but I'm curious from your perspective, what is it about your content that helps people be able to make that big of a purchase?
So from what I understand, right, we all have something we're bringing to the table. From what I understand, it's the way that I talk about business. It's the way I talk about culture. It's the way I talk about teams. It's a little bit irreverent. It's straight shooting. My parents are from the Bronx. My mother, you should hear, has an amazing accent. It's very much, I don't believe in this business jargon. I also don't believe in this super like touchy-feely vulnerability sort of thing that a lot of culture people do. I don't think either end of that is productive. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, we have somewhere in the middle where we're being direct, we're being honest, we're caring about people, but there's work to be done. So let's focus on the work to be done.
Yeah, it's this no bullshit attitude that comes from still a very open-hearted space. That's just you and your personality, and truly that's your personal brand. People are connecting with you in a way where the sales process is shortened because they're getting to know you. First of all, they're discovering you on TikTok. They're learning to like you by hearing how you are, how you're different than people in your industry on either extreme. And then they're able to trust you because they're like, oh, she's taking a stand for things. She's not shy, and she's able to show up as the authority and really speak to everyone and actually land with authority with everyone watching here. What would she be able to do for my team? So they're kind of getting to see you in action. So it's not just educational content. They see you literally coaching in a way.
Yeah.
building trust
I
through your content.
that seems what it is so far. I think also I tend to enjoy verbalizing things that other people don't really enjoy verbalizing. And part of that, and we've talked about this, there's this factor of I'm not trying to be likable. Yes, clients, I would love you to like me. I want your teams to like me. I want your teams to feel like they can trust me. But to the internet as a whole, I don't give. I'm not saying I don't care. So there will be people who resonate and there will be people who won't. And me catering to that,
no, don't have time for it. No. Don't have time for it.
No.
I'm sure you've gone viral for incredible reasons. Have you gone viral for people like not liking something that you had to say, a very strong opinion?
Yeah. So one of I'd say I've had two like really severe instances with that. And for your audience reference here, I'm at like almost 11K followers now. And I was at 3 in January. So it's a pretty big
up. Huge job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, so the first one was something I hopped on someone else's controversy. I did that on purpose. That was great. I wish I did that when I had the creator fund.
Yeah.
But I did something 2 weeks ago. It was a great lesson for me. So I was playing around with, I make 3 videos a day. For me, that has been the thing that primes the algorithm.
I love it.
I got into a routine where I would do it after my workday of meetings. I'd sit down and answer comments and do a couple of videos, and that would be how I would check that box.
Yes.
So you have to put yourself in the mindset, if you guys aren't doing this, of like 15, 20 minutes of content a day, you just sort of get rote into it.
Yeah. Well, I love that you're saying this, because content shouldn't be hard at all. It should be a part of your daily routine, and you just turn on the camera and you start responding to people, and then you start with a good idea and you jump on one trend. Like, you respond to one thing, you have your own idea for one, and you jump on a trend with a stitch or something like that. You call it a day. There's your 3 videos.
I think I will cede to you. I think you make it look way easier than it is. I had to work to find what was the thing that made it easy for me. And the thing that made it was having a routine. But you're correct. It has to be a routine.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I was like, let me play with eating on camera, right? Because there's all these studies about how when you're eating, people think they're sitting across from you. You're right. So
visual hooks.
I'm doing all this stuff. And at that point, I was getting maybe a day, like cumulatively 10,000 views, something like not super crazy. So I do this video, and I was just talking to someone who interned for me for a little bit, and I was saying something about like a victim. I was like, there's this like a victim mentality. Mm-hmm. And so I don't understand this victim mentality in work right now.
Let's talk about it.
Because there's so much opportunity. There's never been more opportunity to sit on your couch and create, the life that you want.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't like it. No one liked it. No, I mean, it was one of those interesting things. It didn't even get a percentage of the type of visibility that my like really viral, like positive videos have gotten. So that, but I have yet to have as much vitriol as I had, in that, like, I have someone who still emails me, found my email, like emails me. People looked up my house, people looked up my college, crazy DMs, crazy comments. They were going to all my other videos. Like, I had a day where I was like, is this going to ruin all the work that I've done thus far? Like,
okay, but being canceled or going through a hate valley is something that kind of just comes with the territory of being a leader, because you're paving paths that no one's ever done before, and they don't want to hear it because you are talking about opportunities that they can't even envision for themselves. So I went through this a couple months ago, and I know that feeling. It got so bad that Meta called me, like they called. And I know they don't care, but like, it's protocol when they get that many hate comments that are threatening to take my, So yeah. And like, go knock your, like, go jump off.
One where you said people have to wear makeup.
Yeah, like, it was just like, if you want to sell a ticket, freaking put on some lip gloss. Like, just don't roll out of bed. Like, that was the point. And like, be on brand for you, whatever that looks like.
No, but
I took a
search. I remember seeing that, and I didn't. That's the funny thing about like negative virality. even though like I knew that you could even scroll past that video, you wouldn't even necessarily know what was going, like you could probably see that video, you wouldn't know what was going to the same thing as you. I remember you saying something about that going viral in a negative way, but I was like, oh no, research shows that's true. Boop.
Yeah.
Didn't think about it.
No, it's insane. But when I tell you, I mean, I was on a ball on my therapist's couch, and she's like, "There's no cameras in here. I know you've been like influencing for years, but this is a safe place." And like, it was not a good week for me. Let me just tell you. So I empathize with you so much because I know how that feels. But as leaders, we keep going, and if we back down on these hot takes that really make us who we are, then we aren't attracting the people who are those ideal clients who want to work with us, right?
Got a client out of it.
Yes.
Even though
yes.
I did that video, I did 3 videos the next day, like in defense of it. And then I think 4 days later, I deleted all of them because for me at that time, like I probably wouldn't do it now, but it didn't give me a bunch of like I didn't have the creator fund yet, so the engagement wasn't doing anything. And it turned into a conversation it was not the conversation I was trying to have.
Yeah, no. Like, we don't even need to discuss it. Like, that's just like so beneath.
Yeah. It is really like a rite of passage, though, I think.
It is. It absolutely is. But let's go there because work is political right now. And this is something that I nearly got canceled for another thing for ending a woman who worked with me because she lied about her productivity all day, even while we were giving her support. Like, what can we do to support you? And then at the end of the day, when we proved to her we saw no productivity, she then came back and said, well, I was on my period. But I'm like, but you lied to me all day and said you were working. You could have said you're sick and you could have not started work today and that would have been fine. I'm a woman who deals with period pain as well. Most of us, 4 out of 5 of us who work with me are women. So at least at this point in time, and I posted about this on Threads and people went nuts, like tried to slaughter me. And my sweet team members like commented like, we love working with Sophia. Y'all have no idea like how much she sacrifices for us and make sure like we're always taking care, whatever. But like people weren't having it. They went wild. So
people were wild about what? About the fact that you let this employee go?
Yeah. Like the fact that I was just like, because it was her first day and she was willing to lie to me when we were being so supportive and saying like, hey, here's resources. Can we help you? Because we were seeing no productivity on our back end. Sure. So we were like, what's going on? Do you need more help? And then we're like, well, maybe she's like really digging into our free training so she can really get to know the brand. That's fine. But by the end of the day, she actually lied about what she did. And at that point, I was like, well, I can't keep a liar. Yeah. And when you're working for someone, you're stealing from them if you're lying, right? So
I don't know if I'd even phrase it like that, but it's more, you're a small business.
Yeah.
Your team has a very personal touch with people, right? These are your sales. They're the first touch with your clients. So you need to have a lot of trust in them. And if from the offset you don't have trust, either in terms of productivity, managing expectations, or being honest.
Yeah. Just be honest. And I would be like, if you're feeling sick, like please take the day. Like there's no reason to
on your first
lie about it. Even if it was her first day, if she would have told me she was sick, I would have said it's okay. We can start tomorrow.
No.
Like, yeah.
You're not.
What is it?
No, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't?
Your first day of a new job.
Okay, but I'm saying like for the sake of
if you are in the hospital, yes, we'll start another day.
I agree, but I also don't want to get canceled again.
Okay, you have your opinion. I'm telling you, I'm a little more corporate than you. I come from a little more of an old school.
No, I do too. And like
and I think your graciousness in that is a part of why your team loves you. Yeah. I think no, on your first day, to me, you have like, we forget that we have to understand how people's brains work, and that is a first impression with a new.
Yes.
And if I had the flu, like you my makeup would be on, my hair would be done, I'd be on camera.
Amen.
Moving.
See, this is the kind of conversation that's constructive and makes sense. But because, and actually, I'm really disappointed in myself for backing down my energy just a couple seconds ago, where you're like, no, because once you get canceled once, you're afraid of it, like kind of happening again. But fuck that shit.
Honestly, it really is. So I just started a newsletter last week, and it's like, I don't think I added you to it. I'm gonna add you to it.
Add me. How can people sign up for it?
Link in my bio,
okay.
In both Instagram and TikTok. So it's worth 30,000 for you. And basically what I'm saying is, I'm here, I'm working in businesses, I'm talking to people all week long about their business issues, their team issues. And then I'm also on TikTok. So I've got this really wide view of what's going on at work. And one of the things is that work is really hyper political right now.
Okay.
There is on social media this socialist, like Marxist, a little bit sentiment towards work. If you're working, you're being taken advantage of.
My gosh, we're privileged to be able to work in my mind.
It's so, the side note for why this is tough for me. So one of my biggest clients is a global corporation, and I do a lot of work with their team in the Philippines. I don't know if anyone has been to the Philippines, knows about the Philippines, beautiful place, incredible people, a country that's very much on the up right now in terms of technology and commerce and productivity. So really highly educated people. And this company I was working with, 1,000 people there, they are commuting, and they do hybrid. So they are commuting 2 hours each way, walking, open air vans, and they're doing day shift, mid shift, or night shift. This is very normal for Filipino people, for companies based in the Philippines. So you either work like 9 to 5, or you work 9 to 5 the other way, or you do like a 3 to 11. Wow. So you're commuting at any hours of the day. It can be very rainy there some seasons, and not a peep. Most people are like, I'm excited to get into work. You know, they're able, again, because the country's building its economy in such a strong way right now, like they are able to change their family's trajectory by wealth now, which is beautiful to see. But so they have that
appreciation
for it.
Yeah.
Now in the US, when people are on my TikTok and they're like, it's like some like 23-year-old designer who works, you know, half remote, and they're like, I have a 25-minute commute. I can't believe my boss is making me come in 3 days a week. It's like, I don't know what to say to
entitled
them. I don't have any sympathy for you whatsoever.
Zero.
Nor do I think this is productive.
No.
Like, from around the world who don't feel this entitled are going to out-earn you.
Oh, 100%. And as an entrepreneur, as we know, what did we have to do? What effort? How many hours did we have to put in to get to where we are? And just hearing someone complain about getting handed their checks for doing their job. Like, as entrepreneurs, we don't get guarantees on what we get paid. We're taking the risk so you get paid.
Or not doing their job, Sophia. Some people, when you are employed in a company, you can have a week where you aren't that productive. If you or I have weeks where we're not productive, like, I don't make any money.
Believe me, I know. Yeah. And now there are ways as a coach or as a service provider for people listening who don't do exactly your business model, perhaps, that you could have like a course, right? That like people can still access even if you're not working, or you could pre-prep your content. Yes, all these things are true. But as an entrepreneur, we're so pumped about what we do. We're so high on our purpose that we're willing to take these risks to give ourselves the greatest life and our employees, contractors, whatever it may be. And so if you're working for a company that genuinely cares and does their best, it's like, be grateful because someone out there is taking on that risk so you don't have to. So you can get away with. I see people on TikTok right now selling those mouses that like move. So you haven't seen this?
No.
Okay. Girl, you need to do a video response. But it's like Your boss is going to hate this video because it's a mouse that moves to make it look like you're being productive.
Oh, I mean, I know about that.
You got to watch those videos and respond to them. That would blow your stuff up.
Here's my thing though. Even if you're in a company that doesn't care a lot, or like, I think Gen Z is way too focused on their companies having consciences, on them mirroring their opinions on things socially. But to the side, even if you are not in a company that you feel really cares about you, there is this, like, you know, there's this idea going around social media that everyone should start their own business. Just get out there, just start your own business. And
not true.
I don't think it's true, but not everyone can start their own business, but it's not that easy. And what you're not realizing is that you're actually really resourced inside a company. So that's one of the things that I work with companies on, which is, I'm like, trust me when I tell you, I'm 2.5 years out of being inside someone else's company. If I were to get into that supply closet, either literal or metaphorical, in terms of like data, network, resources, like, honey, like, that's like the shopping spree thing. I'm like, I will take everything. You know, if I got employed tomorrow, I would use, and knew I was coming back out to build my business, I would do things so differently. And so I kind of feel like, learn from other people who are doing it now. This is to jump with no resources. You are not better off alone than you are inside a company.
No. And to say what you, first of all, very true. Second of all, entrepreneurship is not the path for everyone, and that is okay. Like, we're not all meant to be entrepreneurs. You have to be very comfortable with taking risks, and you have to be able to lead in a way where when you lead, there's nobody else to answer to. There's nobody else to pump you up. There's nobody else to catch you if you fall. That you are truly the leader. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm already that, awesome, I'm so glad you're here. But no, but it's okay if you're not, and you're just listening to my podcast to better your life. Like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to have a great life or to be impactful in any way, shape, or form. You may not have a nervous system that wants that kind of risk. And
trust, your nervous system needs to be of steel.
Oh, yeah. I tell people all the time when they come into my program, if people come in to scale their business, awesome. Like, most times we're going to pass your application. If you're coming in and you're just starting to build, I got to make sure you're building from a very grounded. I love it. I love when people come on and say, and real Stacy, what's up? Okay, so let's go a little deeper. You said not to quote Kim Kardashian, but no one wants to work. But okay, I worked for a pretty famous entrepreneur, and during COVID and after COVID, we couldn't get anyone to work in the warehouses. We couldn't have anyone shipping it was crazy. Like, I was doing all the social media, all the marketing, and then having to run in the warehouse and ship. Like, what?
It is really, really hard. My first year building this business, I think I told you about this, I bartended on the weekends.
Yeah.
And which is, I just can't talk well enough about that experience in a bunch of different ways. But we could not find, and this was a nice restaurant and it paid great. Like, a busser would leave, I don't know, if you know the service industry, but like, a busser would leave a shift with $120, $150 in their pocket. Like, that's for a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, it's great
shift. And it was really hard to find people.
Yeah. It was
really, and then even, I speak of it more from also the wide expanse of the internet that I'm looking at, which is people. It was so weird. One of my videos went, the one that went viral negatively. I got a crazy comments, and someone was like, corporate, we're just being so taken advantage of, whatever. She's like, I'm gonna be a stay-at-home mom, and I was like, well, opting out of the system doesn't, I don't understand. Someone's still working in the system. It's just not you.
Yeah.
It's like saying, I don't want to work. I just want to have a trust fund. Well, yeah, sure.
Doesn't everybody like, okay, let's not, but here is the difference with entrepreneurs. I will say this. We had the trust fund, we couldn't stop because our brains are like, what can we make better? What problem can we fix? I'm so purposed in this. I'm so excited about this. That's the difference. But like, let's be real. Wouldn't we all want a trust fund? That's why we're chasing wealth. We're chasing freedom. We're chasing security. But I get what
and you're willing to play the long game for it.
I'm willing to play the long game
for a long ass time.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Question. What I'm seeing is it's similar to what I said about this like sort of socialist sentiment.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who feel work is not the thing, your life is the thing. And I just they feel either that there's a sentiment that other people have been taken advantage of for so long, or they feel like they've been taken advantage of for so long that it's almost shameful to put yourself so focused on work. Like hustle culture is dead. There's a lot of this. Like
yes. And okay, give me your opinion. Give me your opinion first.
I read this incredible book called Work by James Sussman, and it basically goes back to the beginning of our species, Homo sapiens, and talks about how we exchanged energy from then until now. Having a purpose and working with other people is a driving life force to eating, rest, and procreating. Or having sex is not procreation. Like it is a driving primal life force to move forward with a purpose with other people. There's a lot of really interesting research that shows how people who retire without like a great plan around it die.
Yeah, they just like die. They straight up die. It's like really sad. My parents' friends, like they always had older friends and they're like bajillionaires, okay? Bajillionaires. They built these huge companies, international companies, and they're like, well, we're retired now and there's no real plan. Boom, just dead. Yeah.
It's a true driving life force. So and for me, my hypothesis is the prevalence of remote work has done a lot of that. So people are forgetting about what it feels like to be really in it with other people, because you have good teammates. Although I have met some teams that do this really well, but most people are not doing remote well. People who didn't do remote before COVID and are still doing it tend to not do it really well. You don't create that connection between you that supersedes all the petty stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the ticket.
I love it. So one thing that I'm working with people in my coaching program right now is instead of going at this program alone, you need to find a buddy. You need to find a buddy to work with, to co-work with. And one of the reasons I've been so successful this year is because I decided I was going to work with a co-coach and really, really value her opinion. Even though she works for me, I'm going to uplift her and give her authority within my company, and we're going to work together. So we get on Zoom at specific meeting times. I'm not like this little lollygagging business owner who's like, I'm a coach and I like lay by the pool all day long. Like it's nice that I have the freedom that I could, but that's not how this works. And that's like, let's be real, that's not how you're going to scale a multi-million-dollar business or multi-million-dollar coaching company.
Is that how you think you're perceived sometimes?
No, I think that I'm very clear that I'm balanced. I hope so. What do you think?
No, I was just curious why you had to preface that you're not like a lollygagging coach.
Okay, so that is really good that you brought that up, because that was a conversation I had with my co-coach this morning, was how I don't want to show up in the world as my doing equals X revenue. But there's a fine line between, it's not just this bullshit of, oh, you just be the thing and it happens. It's doing the right thing, working smarter, not harder. And because of how I was raised to show you're working harder, to get validation and get accolades and praise from parents for them seeing you stand on your feet for so long and sell in their retail business and never sit down and you're on the clock and da-da-da-da. Like there's those things we got to work through in order to break through the woo-woo side of things of like, oh, it is actually easier to make money online. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't mean that entrepreneurship is easy, but if you have the right steps in place, which I do, then I don't need to believe in more. Maybe someone out there needs to hear this. They feel like kind of stuck in their business. It's about believing that what you're doing and being confident. And the way you are confident when you take an allergy pill that your allergy symptoms are going to subside, that you're doing enough. Like you are enough, you're doing enough, but that's not the case if you're doing the wrong things again and again. You need to have a real strategy.
This hits home for me really strongly right now. And it's part of this transition I talked about when we first started this call, which was I really wanted to be like Sheryl Sandberg, right? Like I wanted to build something behind, like while no one knew, and then come out and be really successful and then be able to talk about it. I am building in public. I am effing up in public. I am iterating on my program in public. So I'm very much doing this with like all the seams and all the work showing to some extent. And that and the stuff that gets me, the things that get me business are not the same things that I have understood to get other people business.
Yes.
So for example, I did, you know, we talked about this. I did a couple hundred like cold outreach last week on I was trying something new.
Okay.
I got no responses. And I got, the 2 responses I did get were like, please don't ever email me again.
Yes. Cold outreach is not the thing. It can't be completely cold. They've got to have engaged with you in some way.
So that happened, but then I'll spend a bunch of time. Like right now I have this one video that I know I can translate well to LinkedIn and will probably get me something out of that. But it's going to be me spending like a couple of hours on TikTok, looking at things, pasting them, doing this, like that kind of work. And to me, still that kind of work doesn't feel like work.
Yes. And then it doesn't feel justified in your mind, right? And then it's hard to have the expectation. Believe me, this is something that everyone who follows me must struggle with, because we're in charge of advertising for ourselves. And even though I have a team who helps me edit the things I don't have time for or don't want to edit or don't know how because maybe they're more complex.
Yep.
But as a business owner, if I'm not in my content, the heartbeat of my content, no one can script for me what needs to be. I'm sorry, they cannot.
No.
And I've had people come to me and say, Sophia, I want to script your videos. I've tested it. I teach this stuff. Absolutely not. And in one video, I was like, never again. Absolutely not. Never again. And I'm sure you feel like that. You're like, oh, I wish someone could like do this research for me so that I could create the content and then I could just go serve my clients. But at the end of the day, they don't know what you're looking for, and that grace touch that's going to transform people into just going from a viewer to I want to buy from her. Oh, Jillian's here. That's my bestie. Love you. So proud of you. Hi, Jillian.
She's a badass lesbian doctor on the East.
Yes. Okay. Is Jillian single?
I don't know if she's single, but I think she's might be open.
Let's just give her a shout out. So if you're listening and you're single, who loves gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous them, that's Jillian. Jillian Dean on Instagram. I know everyone listening to the podcast, like you're either here just to better your life as a queer person, or you're here because you're building a business as a queer person or an ally. So
and you have a queer audience generally, right?
I do. And that's one thing that I don't mean to change the subject, but we have been tweaking our messaging a lot. I've shifted so much. I haven't talked about it publicly yet, but I was really leaning into the spiritual entrepreneurship and using my music as a lead generator, because so many people would use my sound, and then it was really great. They would send me their reel and we would start a sales conversation very naturally. It was beautiful. I had a whole team member dedicated to helping me with this. And my sound got removed from Instagram. I'm currently, like, I have an entertainment lawyer. Like, we don't know what the heck is going on, but we're going to figure it out, okay? With all that being said, we're pivoting, and I'm focusing specifically on reaching queer women. And it's like, I think that's just what God had for me all along, because I never got to see an example of myself. And if you're comfortable talking about your queerness, I would love to, because I don't think we really had examples. Okay, tell me if you're wrong, because you grew up in if I'm wrong, because you grew up more in a open-minded environment, right, than I did.
I grew up in New.
I only saw Ellen as a successful lesbian. Did you know any others growing up?
I don't even know that Ellen was on my radar. I knew Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh my God. See? And then I heard so many bad things about her in the South, about her appearance, about how she talked. Like she was trash.
Like she's cool. She's awesome. But I looked at her and I was like, that's not me.
No, 100%. But in the South, you hear so many negative things about women who don't look feminine. You grow up hearing very ugly, horrible things. And so, yes, you're right. I never even associated that. But I heard bad things about her. So I never got to see a powerful feminine woman who I knew was queer. I'm sure they exist. But the problem is they didn't make it their personality. They didn't make it a talking point. So then there was no representation. And so we live.
Oh, that they had the opportunity to do that.
Of course, it was a different time.
And I don't think I'm very much in the camp of, for me, like, it's not my personality. It's not really a talking point. Not that I'm ashamed of it. I grew up in a different place, and I grew up in a different kind of like house. And
I love that.
So for me, it was just like one of a bunch of things about me.
I love that. It was like, that's so amazing.
Yeah. So for me, it was never something I had to prove, except when I was 24 and I walked around wearing backwards baseball hats and like cutoffs because I thought it made me look gayer. But besides that,
I love it. Yeah, and for anyone who's not watching, like you're listening to the podcast, if you want to see how gorgeous Grace is, you got to come watch the replay if you're listening. But Grace, I'd say like your style's just not super femme, definitely not mask. You're just you. And even though you don't make it your personality, which I love that like you don't have to, like you just are so confident in who you are. I've gotten to a place where now I've been out for about two, almost 3 years. I'm very confident in who I am, but I actually feel it's my purpose to make it my personality so that there is this representation that I didn't get to see, that the next generation gets to see, but not just the next generation, the women older than me who still don't feel comfortable, who still don't have anyone to identify with. And maybe they're not as femme as me. Maybe they're non-binary. Maybe they're more masculine. And that's okay. I know I'm meant to lead the queer community. And so I'm really stepping into that and actually working on an offer for them right now that's going to be so different. And I'm just happy knowing that I'm in my purpose. So that's where we're going with it. But with what you do, does that ever come up?
No. No, it doesn't. I mean, I am someone who, like, despite it not being something I like put it at the top of my list, I do often take the opportunity to say like, oh, right, my ex-girlfriend this, or like, oh, I went on a date with that girl, but like I'll kind of do that type of thing.
Yeah.
Or like make it when someone's like, oh yeah, like the women always, I have a hard time getting them on date. I'm like, oh yeah, me too. Yeah, like same thing. So that kind of thing, I'll do that a little bit. I actually found in business prior to starting my own company, it was very helpful for me to be gay because I worked in like very corporate and startup places, but I worked in a very like masculine industry. And so I worked with a lot of guys, and a lot of young guys too, like it just made it easier. There was no question. I almost got to be like one of the guys and a girl at the same time.
Yeah.
I kind of got the best of both worlds. I know that's not a lot of people's experience, but for me, it was like a very sort of seamless, easy thing. It is
one of those queer privileges, and there's not many, but it's one of those where men can kind of like, you can relate to them and just shut them down.
And not even, like so chill, like not even having to shut them down, but more just like, there's not this like, oh, is this person interested in me?
Yeah.
Or is there chemistry here? It's like, no.
That's what I mean by shut them down, not in any other way. Sorry, there's a delay. I'm realizing we're delayed. Like
we are.
Yeah, it's all good though. It's all good. Okay, before we go, I want to know because we're talking about like this is how people perceive you, personality, and maybe you don't make it your whole personality, but in the age of AI, people are talking about personality hires all the time on TikTok, and you're one of them. And it was making a lot of sense to me when I watched one of your videos. So, can you explain what a personality hire is and how to differentiate yourself? Because I want to speak to this from the personal brand perspective because I have a feeling that we're talking about almost the same thing here.
Super similar. So, a personality hire is someone very simply with sophisticated interpersonal skills, who understands people, who understands what motivates them, who understands how to persuade, how to give information in a way that can be heard, things like that. There's some amazing videos. This creator Vienna on TikTok, I think she's on both Instagram and TikTok, does some really fun videos about personality hires and how they come in, they like don't know what's going on technically, but they like make everything happen on the back end because of all their the relationships with other people, which is a really great caricature. For me, where I see AI and personality hires is it. If you think of AI as supporting all of like the lower level pieces of what we do, you sort of start to take all the mundane things that we do, and then our thinking gets much more sophisticated. That's how I'm looking at that, right? So AI will take out those like bottom pieces. Even if you think about, okay, an AI fridge. Right now in my fridge, I have something running in the back of my head always that I have like this lettuce that's gonna go, and I have this meat that did I put it away yesterday or did I put it away 2 days ago, and I can make something with like, you have these sort of calculations, not super high level thinking. Like an AI fridge would be able to go, okay, you put these mushrooms in 2 days ago, you can use them with this, this, and this, and that's, make a meal. Like that's one of my dreams is an AI fridge. When you think about it like that, you're taking out the sort of mundane stuff. It's not building character for you to think about all those things. Then you're on to your next more sophisticated level of thinking.
Okay.
To partner with that AI, to partner with the technology that's going to take over our like mundane sort of low level, not critical thinking, you need to have people who really understand humans, who really understand how to communicate to them, how to pull information from them, how to motivate them. And that is also, by the way, very much introvert, extrovert, ambivert. It's not an introverts do not have the monopoly on this. So there's actually extroverts don't have the monopoly. Introverted personality hires are one of my favorite topics. Either way, it is people who really understand humans. And I actually think, I'm going to make a broad sweeping generalization. There's, for all the exposure that Gen Z and our people who spend a ton of time on the internet get to other people, they understand humans less because they're only looking at a two-dimensional view.
You're saying the more time they spend on the internet?
The more time they spend on the internet, the less they're understanding. Like, I would still put in terms of closing a sale, take like a great Gen Z person who spent a lot of time on the internet, knows a lot of internet things, I would still put my money on, I'm going to be divisive, the like old boomer guy who's done 100 sales and like goes door to door to door and does
because he's built character, like he's not afraid of the no.
He's going to understand motivation better.
Yeah,
doing it 3D all the time. So that's my request for people who really want to build their own leadership with AI. You have to really understand humans at a level that, like, we talk about my comments being a focus group. If you go look in some of my comments on some of my like high performing videos, people do these broad sweeping generalizations. Boomer managers don't understand. And I know that because I got fired because I said something. And it's like, well, you didn't get fired because you said something they didn't like. Yeah. You got fired because you didn't understand how the rules worked. Yeah. You didn't understand how this person was motivated. So that's, to me, I think a huge opportunity.
Ooh, that's so good and so controversial. I freaking love it. So I think I know with AI coming in, it's so important that we as humans are so personally branded, such an asset. Whether you work in corporate or you work for yourself as an entrepreneur, coach, service provider, if you're not branding yourself as someone who's valuable, if you're not showing up, being the best you can be every day with whatever you're doing, then maybe you would be the first to get replaced. And it's really important to use AI and not be afraid of it to make yourself more efficient. So you're able to be competitive in the marketplace and be able to provide the value because let's face it, AI is going to have some great ideas. Like eventually we won't be able to beat an algorithm in a lot of ways, but the people who will be able to beat just an algorithm will be people who are people who use algorithms to their greatest abilities and then take that data and run with it or use that to tweak what they've already created or
Wait, here's the asterisk on that.
yes,
Algorithm cannot be beat, but the input changes everything.
yes,
So input has to be great. And that's what I feel like the TikTok version of AI where they're like, I used AI to make these like 7 emails to my boss. The input has to be brilliant if you want an outcome.
yes.
You can put garbage in, you will get garbage out. So you yourself have to be skilling up enough to have a brilliant input to get the brilliant and be able to tweak it.
I love that. 100%. And when people tell me they wrote all their content with ChatGPT, I'm like, oh, sister, we can so see it. Like, we can see it. No.
Yeah.
Like, and what's so funny is like the word skyrocket, people used to say they would know it came from AI if they used the word skyrocket in their content. But now it's become such a common word that people are actually saying it. Am I interested? This is going to skyrocket your revenue. We say it that now it's actually become a word that we used to be able to go, oh, someone used AI to write that. And now we're like, no, we actually say that now in my industry, which is really funny. But all this to say, personal brand yourself. Even the women who watch me for the lesbian dating, for the lesbian connections, I find it really interesting that people comment and expect people to be interested in them as a business person or as a dating candidate if they're not personally branded, if they don't have a ravishing profile picture that really shows their essence. Like, I'm so confused. I'm so confused at what you think people are going to invest 1 second of their time looking at your profile for, because you've got 3 seconds to woo someone. And then once they're there and they think they're interested, you've got like 30 seconds to show them what they're going to get from watching you. Because nobody is going to just follow you to follow you. Not if they're interested in dating you, not if they're interested in networking with you, not if they're interested in buying from you, unless you can show them immediately, this is what you get when you follow me.
You don't get points for showing up and just taking up space.
No. Oh, that's so good. Someone's going to get mad about it. But no, you don't just get paid to exist, people. Like everyone's like, I get paid to exist.
You don't get people's interest that way.
No.
Okay, what
No.
do you say, Sophia? If you were looking at like a cute lesbian on TikTok, their video, what would you comment to try and get their attention? Like,
oh, that's so good. Okay, so if it depends on the video, if there was enough in the video to have something that's coming from her mind, then I would be like, I absolutely agree with this. And you sound like the kind of woman who would make a good wife with a little rainbow emoji. So it wouldn't just be commenting about looks, it would be commenting about her opinion on something. Okay. If there is only looks, then that changes it, right? Like if that's the type of video I landed on. But it would just be like, you're absolutely beautiful. And I'm a personal brand builder on TikTok, but I'd love to get to know you and not to build your brand. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. What about you? What do you comment when you want to get someone's attention?
I probably try and go for humor.
Yeah.
Like I probably try and go for like the really short, like something funny about what they said or like some like funny thing I took. Or I'm not a big, like I'll build up. So if I like someone's videos, I'll probably comment like 2 words like 5 times on 5 different videos.
And space them out?
Yeah, no, not all at once, but I'll be like, oh, they did a good video. I'll comment. Like, I'll let them sort of like see me. I'm not going to go in for the kill right away.
Smart. That's so smart. The other day, there was a big TikToker, and I totally publicly flirted on their video, and I was just like, okay, well, it's probably not going to go anywhere, but if I wake up and this person follows me, I would like freak out and be so excited. But yeah,
did it?
No. So here's what I'm learning. I probably need to go in for the more chill, be the more chill girl.
I don't know. Sometimes there's so much volume, right? When you think about like a video of yours that has a ton of volume on it, there's videos where I don't even know what the comments are.
Oh yeah, 100%. I can't check all my comments. There's no way. I try though. And when people leave something engaging that gets my attention or ask a question, that's another thing. If you ask me a question, I am 10 times more likely to see that and want to answer it. And if I don't see it, my team member is going to message me and be like, hey, can you respond to this question? So that's something.
Or if you catch someone who's popular when they just posted their video within the first, like, half hour while it has, 4 comments, comment then because they'll see it.
Yes. Then. Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
That is such a good tip. And just lastly, before we go, the way you built this community, and I think this is so simple, but we often forget. You want more engagement. You want more community. You want more sales. Ask more questions. Ask people questions and let them start engaging with you. It doesn't have to be complex. Today, I'm building a community for women who are wanting to find other queer women to date, who are wanting to find other queer connections. So what am I doing right now? I'm building up an arsenal of organic content that is literally me asking for advice in different ways, asking for opinions. If you want to position yourself as the leader, maybe you don't ask for advice about certain topics, but you ask for it about other things. Like for me, I'm like, I'm going travel. Lesbians, what's your advice for me as I go to my first lesbian festival? And I'm genuinely curious. Like, I'm not just like saying that to get comments. I want to know. I can't wait to sit in bed with my little glass of wine and read through these comments. Mm-hmm. So that's something you've done really, really, really well, Grace, is build community. Do you find that it's the same people commenting all the time, or you're growing where it's like different people all the time commenting?
So I'm still pretty like little and new in the grand scheme of things.
You're not little.
I am just starting to see like my community build. So I think for a long time it was just passerbys.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to see the people who like and comment on a lot of things. And I have really smart people coming in. So people say there's no executives on TikToks. Oh, girl, they're in my comments.
Yes.
Comments, giving advice to other people. It's so interesting. It's so fun. So yeah, to me, that sense of community. Also, I was going to make a video about this, but like, I want to tell my people when there are trolls in the comments, like I have your backs. I'm deleting them. I'm blocking them out so they can't argue with you. Like if people are going after people in my comments and I think it's unwarranted, yeah. I'm
your mom Baron.
Yeah.
Right. This is my living room. Get the F out. As for me and my house, there will be no bullying here.
Yeah.
None.
Get away.
Yes.
Go scroll somewhere else.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I love that you're building community. So for everyone who's listening to this and they're like, I want to build a brand. I love what you and Grace have done. The tips that I want to leave you with are to start posting on TikTok and really treat your business like a real business. Like you work for yourself. So really answer to yourself. If you have a goal, what is it going to take to get there? And if you don't know, then awesome. I would love to work with you to make sure you're taking the right strategic moves and not wasting your time. But let me give you some free tips while you're here. Start with 3 TikToks a day. Start with doing one that is you speaking to your audience from your heart. I call them a one and done, one hit wonder, like turn on your camera and just go. To do that, all you need to do is come up with your first hook, your first sentence that hooks people in, and then let the rest come from your heart. It doesn't need to be scripted. In fact, it's probably better if it's not. 2, create a response to something going on in your industry or a stitch on someone else's video that's more popular than yours. Borrow someone else's personal brand, borrow someone else's visibility, and make a comment, give your hot take, give your opinion. And then 3, actually respond to a comment that you've received or a common question that a client would ask you if you don't have enough going on in your comments yet. If you do those 3 things, amazing. Oh, wait, one more. Make one of these things some sort of a trend. Like it could be responding with text over a trending sound, but use a trending sound in some way while you're just getting started building, unless you want to talk in all your videos, which is totally fine.
Okay.
If you can, what is it?
I was going to say the tip that I'm going to yes end you here, because the tip that you gave about responding to something, I use it all the time. That's how some of my most videos go viral. What I did was I created a saved folder in my TikTok for work. And so whenever I'm scrolling, I come across something that I think I'm going to want to respond to, save it. But now I have a stockpile of things I can go back to and stick.
I love that. Yes, that's so good. Okay, so save it to a folder so you can easily go back. And that's another quick tip. When you're using social media, whether it's TikTok or Instagram for your business, have a burner account that you're using to scroll. You want to be engaging with accounts that are in your niche, so the algorithm's very aware of where to categorize you. Super, super important. And if you're ready to scale your business, I'd love to talk to you. If you're like, Sophia, I've already started, I just am feeling stuck. I don't know how to do what Grace is doing, where she posts content and she gets clients. There is a strategy behind it for what she's doing. She might have an easier time posting and just speaking and using her authority. But when you're actually selling a product, maybe compared to what she's doing, where it's like a high ticket service, you might want to have a slightly different sales process. In fact, you do. And so if you're feeling like you're struggling and you're posting and you're going in circles, I'd love to look at your sales process, see what's missing, and help figure out how we can help you get to where you want to be. If you're making $20,000 months and you want to make $30,000 months, what are you going to do different? Let's figure that out. I'm a DM away. Just DM me the word advice and we'll have a chat. And Grace, how can people contact you? What is the best way? If someone's watching this and they're like, I've built my multi-million-dollar coaching company, I have a team now. How can I get Grace to work with my team?
Beautiful. So I have a link. Thank you, Sophia. I have a link in my Instagram bio or my TikTok bio. They're both Grace, the Culture Coach. And you can go to my website. You can contact me through my website. You can sign up for my newsletter if you want to just get a little bit more about how I approach things. And I also have a course that you can purchase for your team.
I love that. And so if someone's listening and they're like, what is the outcome of having a culture coach? Like, what can you promise that you've done for clients in the past? What is that?
So for me, I measure this because I think it's important to understand it's not just some esoteric thing. After someone finishes one of my programs, the team is more connected to each other. They are more connected to their own careers, and they are more connected to the company goals as a whole. What that does is that creates a 250% retention bump.
Wow. And as a business owner, I know how important retention is, because when you have to stop, pause, train, that's an investment.
Huge investment. And not to mention, retention, I think, is like culture and retention are very easy metrics to go together. What happens, I'll say anecdotally, is I'll get emails for months after, I still get them after all the clients I work with, where they're like, oh, remember that meeting we said was so annoying? It's so much better now. Oh, remember that thing we couldn't figure out? Someone came up with a creative solution after your program and we figured it out. So there's, to me, what is hard to measure but easy to see is that the team comes out of the program taking ownership of their own careers, ownership of their work, and ownership of their time together.
I love it.
And they're just so much more excited to go ahead. They care more about the work. They're not buying into this TikTok, like work is BS. They're excited. It's great.
I love it. And work is BS if you don't love what you do. Like, you need to find a love in your heart for what you do, and come from a place where, like, It doesn't have to be that way. Maybe you've never given it your all before, and that's why you feel that way, because you don't feel a collaborative pool.
I agree, but I think people do it to themselves.
Oh,
like I've
100%.
That I have loved parts of it. Like you have to, it's a discipline. So what you have to find, I was a lifeguard and I was a lifeguard in a small pool. I cleaned bathrooms.
Yeah.
And I found things to love about that. Like I would put my music on, I would do, like you have to find things to love about where you are. That's the only way to go forward.
There's no relationship, there's no your own business or working for anyone else that's going to be 100% perfect all the time. You choose the mindset, you choose everything. And I'm really excited that we got to have this conversation, because I do believe that it has been hard to hire. I know this. I'm a business owner. It's been hard to find people who are really driven. But I'm really excited that there are people like you in the world who help show people how to feel connected so that they can really enjoy the process of collaborating. And for everyone listening who has built their own business or is building it, remember, you've got to lead from the position of, we're building a movement. There's something greater. There's a purpose. We're helping real people, and always coming back to that reason why this even exists. Like, why are you helping people? What is it? What happens if we don't collaborate together? What happens if there is a missing link? And really caring about that ideal client. And thank you for making this possible for teams around the world and for sharing your success with us. I'm so proud of you, Grace.
Thank you, Sophia. I'm so grateful for you from the beginning of this journey to where we are now, and like the conversations we're able to have, including this one, which was, as usual, wonderful.
I can't wait till I have the biggest team in the world when I'm lesbian Tony Robbins and I'm like, oh, Grace is coming in to train everyone.
Done.
It's a matter of time. Have a great day, and we're glad you're here, Stacy. If anyone's listening and they're like, oh, I want to tune in live next time, you can tune in live on Wednesdays, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm always here, Social Equity Live. Thank you, Grace, for being on the show. Bye, y'all. Congratulations for listening to another episode of the Social Equity Podcast. Every moment you invest in building your brand is contributing to your social equity. If you're an exhausted coach or service provider, or you're just getting started building your brand from scratch, I can't wait to give you the first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10 to 20K months. But why should you take my word for it? Well, I've spent over 9 years in the industry, amassing over 350,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as hosting a top charting podcast, building a successful service provider business, and coaching powerful women to build purposeful, profitable personal brands. So yeah, you should lean in and listen to the social media secrets, sales tips, marketing strategies, and mindset hacks I share. I want to help you build your dream business that makes real money, leveraging the power of a personal brand on social media. Because you're ready to quit wasting time on content that isn't working and start bringing in the money you deserve as a purpose-led coach or service provider, sharing your gifts with the world. So for a limited time, I'm giving away your first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10K to 20K months. Grab my newly revamped Profitable Personal Brand Blueprint, the proven framework to build yourself a personal brand that motivates, inspires, and sells so that your business can thrive the way it should. Just go to the link in the show notes. To ask me questions in real time, join me on Instagram Live for the live podcast show. The schedule is always posted on my profile. My handle is @Sophia Spallino. And if you're tired of posting without a reliable strategy and posting without maximal profit, just like many of my clients were before, then you want to join the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Many of you asked how you can get me to coach you on building a profitable personal brand like the one I have. That's why I designed this coaching program, so you could have me coach you, guide you, and mentor you. This is for female coaches, service providers, and entrepreneurs who want to be known for purposeful work and build an extremely profitable personal brand on social media without wasting time. Whether you're a novice at creating or you're feeling stuck, hitting a plateau in business that once had consistent revenue and need guidance, support, and coaching to get to your next level, book a strategy call to speak with either me or my team to see if we'd be the right fit to work with each other inside of the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Mind you, I am very selective, and this coaching program is not for everyone because I'm only taking on serious, purpose-driven, and committed soul sisters inside of my community. If that's you, book your free strategy call now. The link is in the show notes. And if you feel yourself come alive and get excited to take radical responsibility for building your social equity, your personal brand that no one can take from you, leave a 5-star rating with a kind review wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to share the show with a powerful woman you know. And remember, with a positive mindset and a profitable personal brand, all things are possible. So go get up and go get what you want.